I was curious, how does the number of traffic citations this past month compare to other months? That was a number I don't remember hearing before, so I was just curious.
Chief.
Oh, okay.
That's probably pretty much in line.
Cool.
Pretty much in line with other months.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Himes.
Good evening. So for the month of July, fire department responded to 65 incidents. That brings us to a year-to-date total of 462 calls. Since our last meeting, pretty major event over on Livingston Avenue on the 15th. I would like to speak about that for just a little bit. It's painfully obvious to me that there's a different culture within the city now because of the amount of teamwork that was displayed on that Monday. We have Beverly respond on any initial structure fire alarm and have for many years. They were on that call from the jump. We also requested aid from Beelington and Colton, and Buchanan came over and covered the station because we were over there for about 8.5 hours. That's pretty normal because of when we need resources, we call and we go elsewhere. The part that a lot of people probably didn't see was Randolph County OEM was there quickly, and it just seemed like water and food came out of nowhere. Davis Trust Company was dropping off 3 coolers full of water. Their marketing director, I believe, was who was responsible. It took me about a week to catch up with them, but Geno's and Little Caesars donated food. I put in a call very, very early because I knew we were going to be flowing a lot of water, because when you have a lot of fire, it takes a lot of water to put it out. And I put in a call very early to the plant to make sure they were aware of the situation. Within just a couple hours, had a face-to-face with Wes and the guys from the water plant. Was very beneficial in letting us know that we weren't taxing the system, especially with the dry weather that we'd had. PD was on the scene very early, as well as the sheriff's department, helping with crowd control. And I noticed pretty early on that we didn't have a lot of onlookers and bystanders, because everywhere I looked, the street department, with no prompting from anybody, basically surrounded us with signage and barricades. So EMS was there throughout the entire incident. It was about 94 degrees air temperature that day, and constantly rehabbing our guys. Got the sheriff's department's command unit over there, so we had some air conditioning. Fire marshal's office was on the scene. Had a face-to-face with Jeremy very early on. He was very quick to get some information out for me. That was extremely helpful as well. According to Wes's numbers, please don't shoot the messenger, we pumped 646,000 gallons of water that day, or thereabouts. And we're estimating the loss in excess of $6 million, and the investigation continues. There was some insurance investigators in there today, and I'm not sure what all was uncovered, but that's about the extent of that. It was one of those large scale incidents that we don't run very often, and I'm thankful for that. But all of my guys that went came home, and that's the big takeaway from all that. So if anybody's got any questions about Livingston or anything else, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you, Chief. Wes, did you have a report tonight? All right. If you're here for the report or for Whitmer, so. This is our Chief Operator. What's that? Yeah, exactly. Our Chief Water Operator, Wes Lambert.
Good evening, everyone. Like to see you. I'll try to be brief. During the week of August 5th through the 9th, Groundhog Drilling will be installing the 8-inch water line bore for the new UHC hospital. We're expecting to tie into the existing 8-inch line on the rail trail the following week. We'll try to get the notifications out way in advance before we actually shut the water off. That's actually the main feed for Leedsville PSD. So, also, we've been working on the cybersecurity and the implementation of the cybersecurity policy for the water system. Dwayne, our industrial automation engineer, has made some very positive progress in tightening up a few of the areas that we identified that we needed some work on within this cybersecurity assessment. As part of the cyber policy, we are planning to buy a safe. That's one of the things that they said you have to keep your critical documents within a fireproof safe. So we're going to tighten up on that as well. August is definitely set to be a busy month for the water department. We have several training classes and conferences scheduled throughout the month. Starting August 5th through the 9th, we have 5 employees that will be attending the Class 1 water certification in New Martinsville. Also, that same week, I'll be attending the West Virginia Municipal League Conference. And then on the week of August 11th through the 14th, I'll have several employees, including myself, attending the West Virginia Rural Water Conference. We try to go down there and network with everybody. Just about anybody you can imagine that deals with water or sewer, including state officials, are down there. So it's a great opportunity to network and catch up on the latest and greatest. I also want to talk about the current drought in West Virginia. As most of you know and are aware, on July 26th, Governor Justice declared a state of emergency concerning the drought conditions throughout the state. Right now, the water levels in the Elkins portion of the Taggart River are definitely low, but we're stable. We still have a small amount of water coming into the city's raw water reservoir. We've been monitoring that multiple times a day just to make sure that nothing changes. We've also been only opening that inlet works up just long enough to replenish what we used for the pumping that day, and then we shut it back down. We don't want any water going over that dam. Once it goes over the dam, it's useless to us. So we want to maintain as much water as we can keep. So as of right now, folks can continue to use water as normal. If that would happen to change, we'll get the word out as soon as possible. So with that being said, if you do see that there's no water going over the 11th Street Dam, don't panic. We just have the inlet work shut off for the time being. So that's all I have for the report.
Any questions for Wes? Thank you, sir.
Thank
Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mayor. From the clerk's office, your TIF advisory committee is starting to give some thought to getting rolling. We did have a call with Josh and Joe, the attorney and the financial advisor that are working on that with the city recently, and it looks like the income from the TIF district that would be paid as property taxes are paid over the next year, half in the fall, half in the spring, looks like together it'll generate about $100,000 in this first year, which is higher than they had initially projected. And that in turn is the basis for potentially a bond issue that could be a couple $1 million already. And they're still thinking about that, and that would obviously come back here with a lot more information. But in other words, signs are promising for the TIF. I'll report more as it comes to light. And then speaking of funds for infrastructure projects, we did receive notification that we applied for $1 million each in congressionally directed spending, also known as earmarks, for the streetscape project and the riverfront project. And we were notified that the streetscape project has been included at $1 million in the FY 2025 Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Appropriations Bill draft. So I'll just read a passage from Senator Manchin's office about what that means. While an exciting step, this does not guarantee that your project will ultimately be funded, as there are several remaining stages. Next, the Senate and the House of Representatives must come to an agreement on the draft bills reported by both chambers, and whatever gets funded, the funding would not be officially available or officially secured until the fiscal year 2025 appropriations bill is passed by both the Senate and the House of Representatives and signed into law by the President. So I think there's still some opportunity for that to not come to fruition, but at least we're in the running for that funding. I think that's further than we've gotten with a request for one of these in the last 2 years. So,
But it does help when we have both senators on the Appropriations Committee, so.
right, yep, these requests went in through Senator Manchin and Senator Capito's office, and yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed that works out. That's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
What fiscal year would that be for, if it does all come through?
You know,
Federal fiscal year 2025.
And the feds start in October? It's something
after
different.
October. It'll be after October,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, their fiscal year is October.
Beginning of October, but they won't release any funding probably till the end of October.
And just one more question. So if this does,
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that for the rest of the night now.
do I use it now?
Yeah, or do you want to hold it?
So if this does come to pass, I assume, I can't remember how, when we were first talking about this, the operations obviously would be overseeing the whole process.
Correct.
And somebody, a constituent, had seen the article in the newspaper, and I made sure that she saw the streetscape plan, so she knew what was going to happen with that. But there'll be still a whole engineering part that still has to be done. We've accepted this design, but we still have to do the
Right.
whole engineering and everything else.
Yeah, the design we have in hand, you couldn't build from. It's just a concept. And then, just to circle back to the TIF, obviously the TIF is aimed at projects like the streetscape, the riverfront, and a couple other categories. And a lot of this is up in the air, just early days, starting to think about how this might come together. But those if bonds were issued for a couple $1 million based on the first year's income from the TIF, one possibility is that, and if this funding came through, and it's obviously earmarked for the streetscape, it might make sense to combine all of those. And one of the things that might come out of some analysis being done by the legal counsel working on the TIF would be a way to kind of lean on some of our community partners like Woodlands or the Development Authority or East, depending on the project, to have a more direct project management role for some of these projects, as that's kind of the lane that they operate in. So, but it's very early, and again, this $1 million, I'm not that familiar with this process. I think we all have to accept that something could happen, and that's just no longer in the draft at some point. I'm not sure, but I think that's possible. So.
But I'm going to be the optimist that says, yes, that's going to happen, and look forward there. But there'll be a mechanism that has to be identified on how they'll push the money to us, similar to the street cameras. So we don't know if it'll come in the form of a grant or how that will come to us, but there'll be a mechanism that will be set up to allow us to draw the money down. So, and then Tracy will have to get involved with that aspect of it so that she can actually put it in a certain account. Any other questions?
Nope, thank you.
Ms. Roberts?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything in particular until perhaps you have some questions when we get to the new business. I'm happy to answer anything there. And I will be attending the Municipal League meeting next week also. And the Municipal Attorneys Association, we have been having Zoom calls for the last year or so. And we have some projects we're working on, so I hope in some coming meetings I'll have some things to present to different committees and/or council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move down to the approval of the vendor invoice payments. I will entertain a motion to accept the invoices as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under new business, we have ordinance 337, amending the city charter concerning the date of the municipal election. This is the final reading. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1775, reauthorizing conditions of contract between Mitchell Tree Care and Landscape Consulting and the City of Elkins and authorizing execution of contract. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1776, appointing new members to the Elkins Tree Board. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1777, accepting bid for relocation of sanitary sewer line near the 11th Street. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a
Sir, I
motion.
have a question about that, if I may, before
Yes.
the vote. Tracy, could you remind me what that bid was for the 11th Street line?
I believe it was 138,000.
Correct.
Thank you.
That is correct. Okay, any other questions or comments?
And just for clarification, the movement of the line will potentially improve the ability for that piece of property to be developed?
That is correct.
Okay, cool.
Yes. There's currently a sewer line running diagonal through the property, so they're rerouting it is what they're doing. So, any other questions? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1778, accepting a grant on behalf of the Kump Education Center from the West Virginia Archives and History Commission. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. F, reallocating ARPA funds. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under G, grant opportunity with Augusta Heritage Center and the National Endowment for the Arts.
So this ended up on the agenda this evening. As sometimes happens with grants, they're very close to a deadline. It does work out that it looks like they could submit their application same night as the next council meeting. So we're going to bring them through the normal grant protocol process and have them come to the Finance Committee meeting on the 12th and see what develops from that. But so that was on here just kind of as a placeholder, but there's kind of
So no
told them there's no
action
need to
required
come
tonight.
present tonight. So more to follow.
Yes, so no action required tonight. Thank you, Sutton. Okay, H is the Whitmer Water System takeover.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss attorney-client privilege.
We have a motion to go into executive session. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Rob, who else do you need there? Do you need an executive session, please?
Counsel, city attorney. Oh, yeah, Wes.
And
is
Wes.
here.